What if I told you that some of the most terrifying sea monsters from ancient legends weren't just stories? Scientists tell us we've only explored about 5% of our oceans. That means 95% remains a complete mystery. Well, welcome to the 95%, where we dive into everything the world hasn't figured out yet. Today, we're exploring 12 mythical sea creatures that might have been based on real animals our ancestors actually encountered. Some of these monsters were prehistoric giants that ruled the oceans millions of years ago, while others might still be swimming in unexplored depths right now. Trust me, the line between myth and reality is thinner than you think. Starting at number 12, we have the Encantado from Brazilian folklore. Picture this. You're at a festival along the Amazon River, and a charming, well-dressed stranger appears out of nowhere. He's incredibly attractive, charismatic, but something feels off. He never takes off his hat, and there's something almost too perfect about him. According to legend, this is an Encantado, a shape-shifting water spirit that's actually an Amazon River dolphin in human form. Here's where it gets interesting. The Amazon River dolphin, or boto, is absolutely real. These dolphins are massive, up to 8 feet long and 400 pounds. They're pink, incredibly intelligent, and they do something that's genuinely unsettling. They approach humans. Unlike their ocean cousins, botos are curious about people and will often surface near boats or swimming areas. They have flexible necks that allow them to turn their heads in ways that look almost human-like. When you see one of these things emerge from murky river water looking directly at you with those intelligent eyes, it's easy to understand how the shape-shifting legend began. Local communities still report mysterious pregnancies and disappearances connected to Encantado encounters. Coincidence? Maybe. Or maybe there's more to these dolphins than science understands. Number 11 brings us to the Tlanusi from Cherokee mythology. A house-sized leech that creates whirlpools to drag victims underwater. Sounds like pure nightmare fuel, right? But here's the thing, giant leeches actually exist. The Amazon has leeches that grow over a foot long, and in prehistoric times they were even larger. But the real connection might be something else entirely. The Cherokee described Tlanusi as living in deep pools and whirlpools, particularly in the southeastern United States. This region has something called a hellbender, North America's largest salamander. These things can grow up to 2.5 feet long, they're slimy, they lurk in deep river pools, and they're incredibly strong. They also have a nasty bite and can create significant disturbances in water when threatened. But here's what's really wild. Recently discovered fossil evidence shows that prehistoric salamanders could reach lengths of over 30 feet. Imagine encountering one of those monsters in a dark river pool. The Cherokee might have been describing encounters with surviving giant salamanders, or at least cultural memories of them passed down through generations. At number 10, we encounter Cedus from Greek mythology, the sea monster that nearly devoured Andromeda before Perseus intervened. Ancient descriptions vary, but most depict it as a massive, whale-like creature with dragon features. The Greeks weren't just making this up, they were describing something they'd actually seen. The Mediterranean Sea was home to massive sperm whales, and still is. Male sperm whales can reach 60 feet in length and have the largest brain of any animal on Earth. When these giants surface, they can look absolutely monstrous. Their massive square heads, the way they blow water from their blowholes, and their sheer size would terrify ancient sailors. But here's the kicker. Sperm whales are also aggressive. They've been known to attack ships, most famously inspiring Herman Melville's Moby Dick. There are documented cases of sperm whales ramming and sinking whaling vessels. The Greeks might have encountered a particularly aggressive individual, leading to the Cedus legend. Perseus killing the monster could be based on a real successful hunt of a problematic whale. Number 9 is the devil whale from European maritime folklore, a creature so massive that sailors mistook it for an island. They'd anchor on its back, build fires, and then watch in horror as their island submerged, taking ships and crew to the depths. This sounds insane until you learn about whale behavior. Sperm whales are known for something called logging, floating motionless at the surface for hours while they rest. A 60-foot whale lying still on calm waters could absolutely be mistaken for a small island, especially in fog or poor visibility. But here's what's really fascinating. There are historical accounts of this exact thing happening. In 1783, the whaling ship Essex reported encountering a whale so large they initially thought it was land. More recently, researchers have documented whales allowing birds to nest on their backs for extended periods. Some whales seem almost comatose when they rest, completely unresponsive to minor disturbances. Light a fire on one of these sleeping giants, and when it finally decides to dive, you're going down with it. At the halfway point, number 8, we dive into Megalodon, the ultimate sea monster that definitely existed. This prehistoric shark lived until about 3.6 million years ago and was absolutely terrifying. We're talking about a shark that reached lengths of 60 feet with jaws that could crush a small car. Megalodon teeth are still being found on beaches around the world, some as large as your hand. But here's what's genuinely unsettling. We have no idea exactly when they went extinct. The fossil record has gaps, and the ocean is vast. Some cryptozoologists argue that megalodons could still exist in deep ocean trenches. While most scientists dismiss this, there have been some interesting discoveries. In 2014, researchers found a megalodon tooth that was much younger than expected. In 2018, a massive shape was recorded on sonar that couldn't be identified. Could some megalodons have survived in the deepest parts of the ocean? The Mariana Trench reaches depths of over 36,000 feet. We've barely explored any of it. If megalodons adapted to deep water living, they could still be down there, hidden in the 95% of ocean we've never seen. Number 7 introduces the Rousulka from Slavic mythology. Vengeful spirits of drowned women who drag men to watery deaths with their long, flowing hair. These aren't your typical mermaids. They're described as pale, with unkempt hair and a taste for revenge. But the Rousulka legend might be based on a very real and very disturbing phenomenon. In Eastern European rivers and lakes, there's a type of aquatic plant called water milfoil that grows in long, hair-like strands. These plants can reach lengths of 20 feet and grow so densely that they create underwater forests. Drowning victims often become entangled in these plants, and their bodies can remain suspended in the vegetation for weeks or months, creating ghostly, hair-covered figures that move with the current. When these plant-wrapped bodies eventually surface or are discovered by fishermen, they look exactly like the Rousulka described in folklore, pale, covered in long green hair, and associated with drowning. Some researchers believe the entire Rousulka myth originated from people encountering these plant-entangled corpses. Number 6 brings us Mokele Mbembe from Central African folklore, described as a long-necked, herbivorous creature resembling a sauropod dinosaur. Unlike other mythical beasts, local communities describe this as a real animal, not a supernatural entity. And here's the thing, they might be right. The Congo Basin contains some of the most unexplored wilderness on Earth. It's home to species that science only recently discovered, and new animals are found regularly. The descriptions of Mokele Mbembe are remarkably consistent across different communities. Long neck, bulky body, herbivorous diet, semi-aquatic lifestyle. This matches several real animals that live in the region. Large crocodiles, when partially submerged, can look like long-necked creatures. Manatees, which do live in the Congo system, match the description almost perfectly when you account for observer error and cultural interpretation. But there's another possibility that's genuinely exciting. Relic populations of large, unknown species. In 2019, scientists discovered that forest elephants in the Congo had been living in coastal swamps, behavior never before documented. If elephants can adapt to aquatic lifestyles, what other large mammals might be hiding in those vast wetlands? The Congo is massive, mostly inaccessible, and full of biological surprises. Mokele Mbembe might be a surviving population of some large, semi-aquatic mammal that science hasn't classified yet. At number 5, we encounter the Aquizodal from Aztec mythology, a dog-like water creature with hands on its limbs and an extra hand at the end of its tail. It would lure people to water by mimicking crying sounds, then drag them under with its tail hand. This sounds completely fantastical until you learn about Central American wildlife. The region is home to several animals that match parts of this description. River otters have hand-like paws and are incredibly intelligent predators. Spider monkeys have prehensile tails that function like extra hands, but the real match might be the coati, a relative of the raccoon with extremely dexterous front paws and a long, flexible tail. Coati are excellent swimmers. They're known to hunt near water, and they make a variety of vocalizations, including sounds that could be mistaken for human crying. Large coatis can be aggressive and have been known to attack humans, especially when protecting their young. The Aztecs might have encountered an unusually large or aggressive population of coatis that had adapted to an aquatic lifestyle. Number 4 features the Hippocampus from Greek mythology, half-horse, half-fish creatures that pulled Poseidon's chariot. Unlike most sea monsters, these were considered benevolent guardians of sailors. The Greeks might have been describing something they actually saw in the Mediterranean. The connection here is obvious: seahorses. But ancient Greek seahorses were different from what we see today. The Mediterranean was home to much larger species, some reaching lengths of over a foot. Large seahorses moving in groups through clear water could absolutely look like small horse-headed creatures. But there's another possibility that's even more intriguing: extinct marine mammals. The Mediterranean was once home to the Caribbean monk seal, which went extinct in the 1950s. These seals had horse-like faces, swam in herds, and were known to follow ships. When seen from above through clear water, a group of monk seals could easily be interpreted as horse-headed fish creatures. The Greeks' positive association with hippocampi might reflect real positive experiences with these helpful, curious seals. Taking the number 3 spot is the Afank from Welsh mythology, a lake monster that could cause devastating floods and drag people to their deaths. Welsh lakes were said to be haunted by this creature, which was described sometimes as a giant beaver, sometimes as a crocodile-like reptile. The Afank might represent cultural memory of a real ecological disaster. During the last ice age, Wales was home to giant beavers, castoroides, that could reach lengths of 8 feet and weights of 250 pounds. These weren't just big beavers, they were ecological engineers capable of creating massive dams that could flood entire valleys. When these dams failed, they'd cause catastrophic floods that could wipe out human settlements. The Afank legends might be cultural memories of encounters with these giant beavers and the floods they caused. But here's what's really interesting. Giant beaver remains have been found in Welsh lakes, and some radiocarbon dating suggests they survived much longer in isolated locations than previously thought. The last giant beavers might have lived alongside early human settlements, creating the disasters that became the Afank legends. Number 2 brings us Gunakadayat from Tlingit mythology, a creature combining whale and wolf features that people could transform into by wearing its skin. This shape-shifting aspect might sound purely mythical, but it could be based on real encounters with an extraordinary animal. The Pacific Northwest is home to orcas, which are actually the largest members of the dolphin family. Orcas are apex predators with hunting strategies that are genuinely wolf-like. They hunt in coordinated packs, they're incredibly intelligent, and they have complex social structures similar to wolf packs. But here's what's really fascinating. Orcas have been observed beaching themselves to hunt seals, then sliding back into the water. This behavior would look exactly like a whale transforming into a land predator. The Tlingit, who were skilled marine hunters, would have observed this behavior closely. The idea of wearing the skin to gain its powers might reflect actual understanding of orca hunting techniques that hunters could mimic in their own strategies. And finally, at number 1, we have Jörmungandr from Norse mythology, the world serpent so large it encircles the entire earth and grasps its own tail. This might sound like pure fantasy, but it could be based on encounters with the largest animal that ever lived. The North Atlantic was home to massive sea serpents, but not reptiles. We're talking about the longest animal on Earth, the bootlace worm Linnaeus longissimus. These creatures can reach lengths of over 180 feet, making them longer than blue whales. They live in coastal waters, they move in undulating motions that look exactly like sea serpent sightings, and they can form massive aggregations. When dozens of these worms are moving together near the surface, they'd create exactly the appearance of a world-encircling serpent. But there's an even more dramatic possibility: giant siphonophores. These colonial organisms can reach lengths of 600 feet, longer than any other known animal. They're transparent, they move in serpentine patterns, and they're found in all the world's oceans. A massive siphonophore sighting could easily inspire the world serpent legend. And there you have it. 12 mythical sea beasts that might have been real all along. From shape-shifting dolphins to prehistoric sharks, from giant leeches to world-encircling worms, the line between myth and reality is thinner than we ever imagined. The ancients weren't just telling stories, they were describing encounters with real animals, some of which might still be out there in the 95% of ocean we've never explored. Which of these creatures do you think really existed? Let me know in the comments below, and don't forget to hit that like button if this changed how you think about sea monsters. Subscribe for more deep dives into the mysteries hiding in plain sight, and check out our other videos exploring the incredible truth behind ancient legends. Until next time, remember, the ocean still has secrets to tell.